This is the picturesque village of Roth unter Rietburg, near Edesheim in the state of Rhineland-Pfalz. It's home to 400-year-old grapevines. When the grapes are ripe, the pickers head for the Rother Rosengarten vineyard. It's one of the oldest vineyards in the world, 600 square meters in size, and it has just 3 rows of vines. Vintner Stefan Oberhofer invests a lot of time in the vineyard, in an endless cycle of weeding, pruning, and cutting. The hard work ensures that the ancient vines will flourish for a few more years.
It's difficult getting any kind of yield at all. Look at this little one. It's always exciting in the old vineyard. It's over 400 years old. Some of today's vines only last 20 to 25 years, and the fact that this one is still standing is pretty miraculous.
The 300 Traminer vines, which are believed to have been planted in the early 17th century, have been under a preservation order since 1968. Various wars have passed them by, and thanks to their tough bark and roots, they've survived the ravages of the grapevine louse.
If you take a closer look, you can see that the stalk and bark have cracked open. They're hollow in the middle. It's amazing that this vine is still producing fruit. It's had moss for years, and it's pretty gnarled and twisted.
This picture shows how the vineyard might have looked in the early 19th century. The vines belonged to the Zehr family for decades before they became the property of the Oberhofer estate in the early 1970s. It was purchased 40 years ago by the father of the current vintner.
In the early days, we used a horse for plowing and did the rest by hand. All the manual work means things are very labor-intensive. But this venerable old fellow, he deserves it.
The annual harvest depends entirely on the weather. The 2006 harvest, for example, produced just 3 buckets of grapes. 2009 was a little better. Oberhofer made 400 liters of wine from that harvest. Still, he hopes to get a few bottles from the current crop. But whether it's a bumper crop or a bust, every year Heidi Oberhofer holds a kind of Thanksgiving event. It's become a tradition. The meal provides some extra fortification for the team before they get to work. The wine from the old aromatic Gewürztraminer vines makes up less than 1% of the vineyard's total production. It's a labor of love for Stefan Oberhofer. And he's delighted with the reading on the Oechsle scale. That gives it Auslese status, excellent quality. Connoisseurs say this Gewürztraminer has a more mature taste than others of its kind. Now all the Oberhofer family can do is wait and see what the next harvest brings.